Good day, fellow South Africans. And, I got an email from YouTube overnight, and I looked at it, and I shared the content with Dwayne earlier. Basically, YouTube said that they are demonetizing my channel because they've changed their hate speech laws, and I continually brush up against them, even though I don't actually have any hate speech. But you've got to understand, YouTube is a liberal lefty channel. It's not about free speech. And the reason I said nothing about it is because, I go with the flow. I understand that it's like swimming with the enemy. I mean, that's what it's like, really. So I'm always dodging the bites of the sharks and shit like that. And I've talked about this in the past on my channel. But it appears now thousands of YouTube channels are going to be taken down. And I will put a link to the actual article where you can read it yourself. But I thought that, hey, I had a very old video. I'm talking about a video which is probably about 5 years old, which talked about Eugene Blanche. And it was so far back in my videos, it's like history. And about 6 months ago, YouTube came along and they said, well, we found that there is content in there that's not really satisfactory, so we're going to restrict access to it. So they did that. And then 2 minutes before my channel was demonetized, I got a YouTube email saying, we have found that this Eugene Blanche video, which they'd already assessed, is hate speech and would take you down. So they took it down. So it's no longer there. And then 2 minutes after that, I got this email from YouTube saying, guess what? You've been demonetized because we have changed our hate speech policies. And so, look, I'm just letting you know that I'm not alone in this. There are thousands of people who've apparently been demonetized, even had their channels taken down. But it's clear that YouTube is on a campaign to try and get rid of all channels on their platform, which do not conform with their views on life. And that's called censorship. Anyway, look, I'll just read to you what is said in the article that I will attach below, the link to below. YouTube is changing its community guidelines to ban videos promoting the superiority of any group as a justification for discrimination against others based on their age, gender, race, caste, religion, sexual orientation, or veteran status, the company said today. The move, which will result in the removal of all videos promoting Nazism and other discriminating ideologies, is expected to result in the removal of thousands of channels across YouTube. The openness of YouTube platform has helped creativity and access to information thrive, the company said in a blog post. It's our responsibility to protect that and prevent our platform from being used to incite hatred, harassment, discrimination, and violence. Well, I don't do any of that. I just tell people what the heck's going on in South Africa. But you got to understand that there are people out there who follow my channel, who hate what I do, who will try every trick in the book to get it taken down. And it's one of those risks we play with. And it's a bit tragic because, demonetizing this channel means I can no longer actively be one of those donors who comes in and helps donate funds to charities like Patrick's. And I'll be needing to talk to Patrick about that in the near future because I'm a pensioner. And my devotion to this channel is just trying to help South Africans, especially the minority groups who are the ones who have been harassed. It's not a majority group that I'm speaking from. It's a minority group who's been harassed and is facing a genocide. But you never know with YouTube. Anyway, let's continue. The changes announced on Wednesday attempt to improve its content moderation in 3 ways. First, the ban on supremacists will remove Nazis and other extremists who advocate segregation or exclusion based on age, gender, race, religion, sexual orientation, or veteran status. In addition to these categories, YouTube is adding caste, which has significant implications in India and well-documented violent events, such as the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting and 9/11. Users are no longer allowed to post videos saying those events did not happen, YouTube said. Second, YouTube said it would expand efforts announced in January to reduce the spread of what it calls borderline content and harmful misinformation. The policy, which applies to videos that flirt with violating the community guidelines but ultimately fall short, aims to limit the promotion of those videos through recommendations. YouTube said the policy, which affects videos including flat earthers and peddlers of phony miracle cures, has already decreased the number of views that borderline videos receive by 50% in the future. The company said it will recommend videos from more authoritative sources like top news channels in its next watch panel. Now, you see how they're going to be promoting the very channels that push fake news, indoctrination, and they're taking away the ability of people to actually go and assess for themselves what is news and what is not. So you've got a huge amount of censorship coming into YouTube. And I'm just letting you guys know about this because I can't see how my channel could be impacted, but if it is, it is. And you just need to know what is happening. In 2017, YouTube took a step towards reducing the visibility of extremists on the platform when it began placing warnings in front of some videos. Now, the one that apparently led to me being demonetized was the one with Eugene Tablanche just before he was killed, and he was saying how he felt about where things were going in South Africa. I actually saw nothing wrong with it at all. But I guess the name Eugene Tablanche pulls up red flags. And as I said, it had the warning in front of it. And that was the one that apparently had me demonetized. But it has come under continued scrutiny for the way that it recruits followers for racists and bigots by promoting their work through recommendations, algorithms, and prominent placements in search results. In April, Bloomberg reported that videos made by far-right creators represent one of the most popular sections of YouTube, along with music, sport, and video games. Well, it's called freedom of speech, YouTube. People want to go and see certain information. At the same time, YouTube and its parent company, Alphabet, are under growing political pressure to rein in the bad actors on the platform. The Christchurch attack in March led to widespread criticism of YouTube and other platforms for failing to immediately identify and remove videos of the shooting. And several countries have proposed laws designed to force tech companies to act more quickly. Meanwhile, the New York Times found this week that YouTube algorithms were recommending videos featuring children in bathing suits to people who had previously watched sexually themed content. Well, clearly my channel doesn't do that. YouTube did not disclose the names of any channels that are expected to be affected by the change. The company declined to comment on a current controversy surrounding my Vox colleague Carlos Maza, who has repeatedly been harassed on the basis of his race and sexual orientation by prominent right-wing commentators, Steven Crowder. After I spoke with the company, it responded to Maza that it plans to take no action against Crowder's channel. Still, the move is likely to trigger panic among right-wing YouTube channels in the United States. Conservatives have promoted the idea that YouTube and other platforms discriminate against them. Despite the fact that there is no evidence of systemic bias, Republicans have held several hearings over the past year on the subject. Today's move from the YouTube is likely to generate a fresh round of outrage, along with warnings that we are on a slippery slope towards totalitarianism. Of course, as the Maza case has shown, YouTube doesn't always enforce its own rules. It's one thing to make up policy, and it's another to ensure that a global workforce of underpaid contractors accurately understand and applies it. It will be fascinating to see how the new policy, which prohibits videos alleging that a group is superior in order to justify segregation or exclusion, will affect discussion on immigration on YouTube. The company says that political debate about the pros and cons of immigration are still allowed, but a video saying that Muslims are diseased and should not be allowed to emigrate to Europe will be banned. The change policy goes into effect today, YouTube said, and enforcement will ramp up over the next several days. So I'm just putting this video out there. You can see what they're saying. I'm going to put a link to my supplementary channel, which has not been affected. And of course, you've got a link to my live stream channel where we're going to be holding the live stream tomorrow. So what you've got is, it's rather like if you think of someone going through a pool where you've got black balls and white balls and they're all mixed up together and they're giving different perspectives on things. What YouTube is doing now is it's going out and it's grabbing all the white balls, getting rid of them, so that there's only the perspective that they want to present out there. Very, very sad. Very, very sad. And I think it's going to inflict a huge wound on their market, because a lot of people will move away from YouTube if they continue like this. But as I said, it is a lefty organization, and we'll see what happens. I'm sure Loving Life will be fine. But, as I always say, it is what it is. All right, guys, please have a great day and take care. And please remember to subscribe to be kept informed and ring the bell. Bye for now.